Hi dear friends, and welcome to my new video. As teachers, we tend to ask a lot of questions in our classrooms, and this is one of our important roles, to ask questions. All teachers do this. But have you ever thought about what types of questions you ask in your class, and whether you have a variety of questions or not? Have you ever thought about the way you ask the question, or the way you nominate answers? Do you think that these practices or this knowledge affect the student's performance or affects learning? So this is the concern, or this is the focus of this video. Questioning techniques. The aim of this video is to help teachers become more aware of different questioning techniques to improve the way you ask questions and to provide more opportunities for learning in your class. So now we will start with a task. We know that sometimes the teacher asks questions which he knows the answers of, and some other times he asks questions which he really doesn't know their answers. So now I will show you some questions, and I want you to check which of these questions the teacher doesn't know the answers of. Please read the questions, check, think, and then replay. Okay, now what do you think? Which questions does the teacher or doesn't the teacher know the answer? Yes, number one, how many students are absent? This is the teacher wants to know. So what do we call this question? Yes, real question. Because this replicates what we do in real life. This is what we do. We ask questions because we need information. We seek information. So this is a real question. What about the second one? Does the teacher know the answer? Yes. The third one. Does the teacher know the answer? Yes. So why does he ask these questions? Yes, to help students display knowledge. This is why these types of questions are called display questions. So we have two types of questions here. Real questions, the teacher doesn't know the answers. He seeks information. And display questions, the teacher knows the answers, but he wants to help students display knowledge. So these are two types of questions in terms of the aim or the purpose of the question. Okay, now let's focus on the display questions. What's the aim of each of these display questions? For example, of course, we have different reasons, different purposes for asking. For example, number two, where does the writer spend his holidays? It sounds like the students have just been reading a text, and the teacher wants to check understanding of this. So the question here, or the purpose, is checking understanding. Now, I want you to read the next questions and think about the purpose. Okay, number three. Do people like a miser? It sounds like the teacher has just presented the word miser, the meaning, and listed the meaning, and now he wants to check the concept, check the meaning. So the students said, yes, means that they don't understand the meaning. So they need more help with the meaning. So checking understanding. The next one, how people become happier. I think this kind of questions tend to be in the beginning of a classroom, before students read or listen to a text, in order to build interest or create interest in the topic. This kind of question trigger discussions. Students discuss together how can or what makes people happier. So there are different types of questions according to or in terms of the purpose of asking the questions. Sometimes we ask questions to elicit language, sometimes to check understanding, and sometimes to activate students' knowledge or prior knowledge, or activate students' schemata, create interest. Here, I need to ask a question. Why is this knowledge important for the teacher? Why should we know this? Because we need to know what type of question is appropriate for what type of task and for what purpose. This is important for the teacher. So now we will deal with this together now. I will ask you to do a task again. So I want you to read the same questions again and try to think how many answers or how many correct answers are expected for each of these questions. For example, number one, how many students are absent? How many correct answers are expected here? Only one. Read the other questions and think how many correct answers can we expect for each question. Okay, so question number two, where does the writer spend his weekends? Of course, we can have 1, 2, 3, or 4, but limited. You can expect the number. So more than one, but also limited answers. Okay, next one. Do people like a math? It's with a yes or no. Only one answer. How can people become happier? Can we expect the number of answers? Can we expect the number of ideas that students can come up with? Of course not. So we have unlimited answers here. We cannot expect them. So here we have different types of questions again in terms of how much scope do we leave for the students to answer. Whether only one answer is accepted, more than one answer but still limited, or it's open. So if the answer is only one, there is only one correct answer, we call this polar closed question. Polar closed question, because it's very closed. Only one answer is accepted. And if we have more than one answer, 2 or 3 or 4, but still limited, we call this closed question, because we can expect the number of questions or the number of answers. If we have unlimited correct answers or unexpected correct answers, we cannot expect that, we cannot predict the number. This is called open questions. So we have open questions, closed questions, and polar closed questions. Okay, again, why should we know this? Why should we understand these types of questions? Again, also, because we need to make a match between the type of question and the purpose of question and the type of task. For example, if we want to check understanding of our instructions, what type of questions? Do we ask open questions? No, of course. We need to limit the answers and we ask either closed or polar closed. Polar closed is much better. So for example, we say, okay, will you speak or write? Again, will you work in pairs or in groups? Again, how many words will you write in your exercise book? So here we have only one answer, one correct answer. This is to limit, in order to limit the answers in order not to confuse our students, in order to focus them on what exactly they need to do in the task. So here we need polar, closed, or closed. On the contrary, if we want to ask or to help students or to create interest in the topic, to trigger discussion in the classroom, if you want students to be expressive and to express their ideas freely, so we need some kind of open questions. So like that questions, how can people become happier? So students will have a lot of ideas and they will agree together with some, will disagree with some others, and they will start debating, they will start justifying their opinions. Now you are activating their prior knowledge, helping them to exchange and share ideas, and at the same time creating interest in the topic. So we need to know the types of questions in terms of the scope we leave, or how much scope we leave for them to answer. Only one answer, more or open. And in order to the purpose, whether we want this in order to elicit language, to check concept, or to check understanding. So each type of question is suitable for a different task. If you want to check the concept, try to use more closed questions, or to check the meaning, try to use more closed questions like polar closed. If you want to create interest, to trigger discussion, or to prepare students for a writing activity, to brainstorm ideas, you need more open questions. So in this video, we have discussed the types of questions, and we have discussed together how or why it is important to know these types. In the next video, we will talk about some killing mistakes, or some fatal mistakes that are more likely to kill interaction. So I say kill interaction in the classroom. And I borrowed this expression from Scrivener, killing interaction in the classroom. These are some fatal mistakes that we need to avoid. We have to avoid in class. So wait for me for the next video. Thank you for watching, and meet you next time.